Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine just over 3 years ago. On the 24th of February, 2022, 200,000 Russian soldiers entered the country, with President Vladimir Putin claiming at the time that he would take the capital of Kyiv in a matter of days. Putin has repeatedly claimed that the special military operation was aimed at denazifying Ukraine and preventing NATO expansion. In the years that have followed, millions of Ukrainians have fled, and tens of thousands of military service members on both sides are believed to have been killed or injured. Russia has taken swaths of Ukrainian territory in the east. In 2014, the year widely considered the true start of the conflict, Moscow annexed Crimea, a Black Sea peninsula internationally recognized as part of Ukraine, after the overthrow of Ukrainians' pro-Russian president. In response to the conflict, Western nations have targeted Russia's oligarchs and businesses with sweeping sanctions, as well as supplying Ukraine with vital military and other aid. Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, just recently appeared on CNN for an interview. Speaking to the network's program, The Source, Rubio describes the meeting earlier today, by that I mean yesterday, between Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky as a fiasco, and said the Ukrainian leader should apologize. There was no need for him to go in there and become antagonistic, Rubio said, of Zelensky. When you start talking about that aggressively, and the president is a deal maker, he made deals his entire life, you're not going to get people to the table, he says. Rubio then adds, you start to perceive that maybe Zelensky doesn't want a peace deal. He says he does, but maybe he doesn't. If none of this were enough, even White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt couldn't help but pile on the Ukrainian president by adding her 2 cents when she said the American people are sick and tired of footing the bill for Ukraine. He, meaning Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, refuses to recognize the practical reality of this war, says Leavitt to reporters outside of the White House. It has been going on for years. His countrymen are dying, and the people who've been funding this effort, the American people, are sick and tired of footing this bill. Zelensky, she adds, finds himself in a much different situation now than in 2022, when the war in Ukraine began. The cards are not in his favor. They are in President Trump's favor, she says, adding Trump has different priorities than the last U.S. administration and wants an end to the war. It doesn't seem like Zelensky wants that quite yet, she says. However you want to describe it, the meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Zelensky in the Oval Office was a historic catastrophe. Ukraine and its most important ally in a public slinging match. It was a total contrast to what happened on Thursday when Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer met Trump. Ecstatic, triumph, outstanding were a few of the words used by the Prime Minister's team. Today, the Prime Minister will be in back-to-back calls trying to patch things up, and this afternoon he is hosting Zelensky, and all this happened just yesterday, by the way, who landed in the United Kingdom this morning in Downing Street ahead of a summit of European leaders on Sunday. Incidentally, President Zelensky will also be meeting with His Majesty King Charles. But Trump's words suggest that both Sir Keir and French President Emmanuel Macron had not succeeded in one of their primary objectives, which is to say, to persuade America that Russia is the aggressor and Ukraine must remain protected. So what now? Sir Keir has some difficult questions to ponder. Does he strive to get his new diplomatic friend at the White House back on board? Or is the new reality that the U.S. just can't be relied on, that the animosity between Trump and Zelensky runs too deep? As further evidence of the stark contrast between the approach taken by the leaders at the White House and the team at 10 Downing Street in London, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has hailed a meaningful and warm meeting with Sir Keir Starmer, during which the two sides agreed a £2.26 billion, that's approximately $2.8 billion loan to Kyiv. Posting on X in the last little bit, Zelensky wrote, "This loan will enhance Ukraine's defense capabilities and will be repaid using revenues from frozen Russian assets. The funds will be directed towards weapons production in Ukraine. This is true justice. The one who started the war must be the one to pay. I thank the people and government of the United Kingdom for their tremendous support from the very beginning of this war. We are happy to have such strategic partners and to share the same vision of what a secure future should look like for all." Thus, we now turn to Brian Tyler Cohen for his take on the differences in approach from the United States and the United Kingdom.